Brought to you by Precision Garage Door Services of Southeast Michigan. The Wings are back on the practice ice this afternoon. Patrick Kane did not practice formally, although he did skate before they went out there. He's still dealing with that upper body injury. Todd McClellan says he will not make this 2-game road trip, which starts in Buffalo tomorrow. They will reevaluate him after they come back. Detroit City Council voted today to make all Detroit professional sports venues tobacco-free. The ordinance will prohibit the use of smokeless tobacco, such as nicotine pouches. Lions coach Dan Campbell expected to speak to the media today at 4:30 ahead of their bye week. Defensive lineman Tyrus Sweet, the highest-rated player on defense yesterday. Defensive end Brandon Graham is coming out of retirement to sign a 1-year deal with the Eagles. The NBA regular season tips off tonight with a doubleheader. It's the Rockets and the Thunder at 7:30. Thunder will be without 21-point-per-game scorer Jalen Williams. The Warriors and Lakers tango at 10 as well. The Angels are tabbing former MLB veteran catcher Kurt Suzuki as their new manager. At the Corwell Health Sports Desk, I'm Jeremy Otto. For more, go to 97.1 The Ticket or Odyssey.com.
All right, Odyssey.com Rewind. We've done Lions wall-to-wall. Rightfully so. I think they put themselves back in the Super Bowl conversation. We'll get to that conversation again at 5. We wanted to just do a little bit of college football, and clearly there's no juice for the rivalry this weekend. One thing that really does annoy me is when Michigan fans want to tell State fans how excited they should be, when in fact we're rooting for your team. Let's be clear. State fans are rooting for Michigan. If it guaranteed me Jonathan Smith would be fired and you'd focus and put 50 up Saturday, I'll come in Friday dressed as Bo Schembechler.
Buddy, right here.
So
there's a percentage of State fans 100% on board with you. Let's just go ahead, rip this Band-Aid off.
Yes.
Get embarrassed, and you hope for that Bobby Williams moment where he just says, I don't know if I've lost the locker room or not. Good, you're fired.
So with that said, you had some quotes. Mm-hmm. I stopped you when you got about 15 words deep, and I said 4 o'clock because now you're upsetting me. I want Rico to read these because if you want to understand why a lot of us State people are out on Jonathan Smith, what you're about to hear from a player, I will do my level best not to erupt with this. But Rico, the floor is yours.
Okay, this all started because I said, Mike, I got to give you your flowers. Sometimes when you're right, you just need to know you were right. Trust me. Plenty of people will tell you, Mike, you're an idiot. You got it wrong.
Thanks.
I want to be your friend and say, Mike, you were ahead of your time on this, and this just confirms it. And when I read it, I watched your head explode in the break. So here we go. Question. What are the differences within the building compared to last year with the build-up to this game? Quote, I would say the energy. Last year, with the transfer portal and everything, we had guys coming in not really understanding what the rivalry is about, not really understanding the rivalry. So we kind of discussed it earlier in the year, what it means to this program and what it meant to this school. I think guys understood more and took it to heart more and was able to see some of the past alum and really feel what they were feeling. And I think that's a different approach to this game this year.
Who's that from?
That's from Nick Marsh.
Okay.
Who understood it because River Rouge kid, State Michigan kid, he understood the rivalry.
Here's my problem. If you need me to trace 3 touch points as to why I'm out on Jonathan Smith, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. Strike 1 was the Michigan game last year. He didn't understand the rivalry, and he coached like a punk, and the whole game disgusted me. Now, touch point number 2, you're fighting for a bowl game, you're at home, you get up 7-0, and you give up the next 100 points to Rutgers, and you no-show. Fighting for a bowl. Strike 2. Strike 3 would be Nebraska/UCLA. Comprehensively. The reason this upsets me, and I didn't want to do this with you during a commercial break earlier, my question would be, how the F does a head coach who doesn't understand the rivalry not start his tenure by ingratiating himself to former players who do, including the parents of some of the players you're trying to recruit? I'm not going to say their names because that's not fair. I can just tell you, you'd know the names. So let me get it straight.
Brother, you had former players on your staff.
Correct.
Go ahead.
No, you're right. The whole idea that it took a year for him to do that. Then his press conference yesterday, he still doesn't get it. Let me be unequivocal about this, because I know like some people who hate Michigan State, they use this as a flex. I disagree with it. I don't view it any different than Auburn and Alabama. I don't view it different than FSU and Miami. I don't view it different than Texas and Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. The rivalry isn't something you put in the cabinet and reach for it when you make that recipe. The rivalry sits on the countertop. You don't even get to the stove without consulting the rivalry. If you're going to coach at Michigan,
like the salt and pepper shaker.
Yes, Rico. Yes.
I like that.
It's just, this is why this guy doesn't belong here. Think about this. Like, I made a joke to you via text Saturday after Jonathan Smith got done sexing all of us up, kicking that field goal. And I said to you, I go, don't worry. I'm sure he'll be all fire and brimstone this week, drawing upon his deep knowledge of the rivalry at practice. He doesn't know what he doesn't know. No. And by all accounts, he hasn't really made a great effort at knowing.
No, for him, it was when they tried to tell him about it, he came back with I played against Oregon.
Not the same.
I understand the rivalry. And people were like, dude, it's not really the same. Nah, it's a rivalry game, and we'll be ready. We'll be prepared. And at least he acknowledged, I had a lot to learn from last year. This year, they brought in the former players to talk to the team before the season to say, hey, guys, this is the most important game on your schedule.
Now, the problem is, and if I may hearken. Hearken. So you remember the old days, how, whether it was former players, I know, or just the rivalry, right? You would always hear from people the first time you played, even John Jansen's talked about this, the first time you play in that Michigan State game, it's a reality check. Your Maulette last night when Rashad White punches him in the face. Players,
that wasn't on the film.
It would take a couple years. Everything was heightened. Mm-hmm. Well, now, this is the folly of the sport. Oh, I have to educate you about the game.
And that's where this came from. It wasn't to upset you. It was like, Mike, you know what? I got to give you your flowers, man. This is what the portal has reduced it down to, that a handful of players have to educate everybody else and even this coaching staff. Seriously, this is a big-time game. And if you lose this game, you're going to lose your fan base. You're going to lose anybody who supports you. And that's where it is, that I don't think he took it seriously enough. And then last year he said, you know what, it was a lot of missed opportunities. And
you coached like a
we got to play smart. Yeah, for some reason, he was the only one that didn't know Colston Loveland was the best player on the field. And let him go 20 yards behind the defense.
Or when Orgy would come in the game that they were running. I digress. Here's my question to people, right? Normally, like I always laugh, throw the records out with these two play. No, you don't get to say that anymore. State hasn't brought the fight to this rivalry primarily maybe once or twice in the last 6-7 years. You want to count COVID, count it. Shout out Ricky White. The point is 2021 was a fight. Mm-hmm. Everything else has been poop. Just poop. And I don't trust this staff or this motley crew of players to somehow summon up the emotion, the courage, and the hatred required.
Well, that's just
to play this.
He doesn't have that hatred. And look, not to compare people, but yes, you knew that no matter what, in that 2016 game against Michigan, where Michigan won because Peppers blocked the 2-point conversion and scored, that was a horrible MSU team. I think won 3 games that year. But that day, they all showed up because you knew D'Antonio had those kids ready. And for the first couple of games for Tucker, he understood it. He had been a coach here. He had the kids ready. They were 27-point underdogs in the COVID year, but they went out and won the game. Jonathan Smith is, it's like Oregon, right? No, it's not, Coach. He found out. We're going to see, because I do believe this is it for him. Now, sadly, and I know what you're going to say.
No, go ahead. I know what you're going to do.
He wins this game, And he just brought enough goodwill with a lot of Spartan fans. They will say, you need to give this guy more time because we beat Michigan.
The only way the win would equate to that would be this win plus 3 more.
Yes.
If you got to 7-5 with a win over Michigan, somehow you will have inexplicably maybe rescued it from the fire. But here's my problem. And this is what I want to ask the people. 248-539-9797. Is it just too far gone with Jonathan Smith? What would he have to do for you to realistically want to keep him around? Because do I believe there is a faction at Michigan State who desperately wants this to work because they don't have the chops for it not to work? They don't have the balls to get in the deep end of the pool with the other schools who need coaches and effing act like it.
No, we're always going to be a poor second class.
Then shut the
school.
program down. The point is, I want to know, like for me, the win over Michigan isn't going to buy him another year in my world, because here's where I won't ever allow myself to get to. What loser-ass Spartans did when I was growing up. Well, as long as we beat Michigan, it was sure a good year, Ethel. That ain't me.
Bro, that was the one thing that I loved that D'Antonio erased. Guys, bigger fish out there than just
Right.
I want to win this game, but there are other things
I'd lose
out
to
there.
Michigan 100 times in a row if it means I was going to the playoff. Like,
Look
the
at
sport
Ohio
has
State.
changed.
You won a national title. You lost to Michigan.
Yes.
Okay. You can talk all the trash you want. I'm going to be polishing the national
But let's
championship
talk
trophy.
about this. If you think Rico and I are reading too much into the quotes, you can say it. I'm not mad at you. But it's alarming to me. And I just don't know that this guy's ever going to understand it. And frankly, no, the game this weekend, like, I wouldn't. It wouldn't buy him more time. It would actually annoy me. 248-539-9797.